We'll switch to speaker mode. And welcome everybody to the next installment of the RPC Conversation series. I'm Claire Markwick, the founder of Reignite Performance Coaching. And if you haven't seen one of these sessions before, the idea of them is, I have some amazing people in my network, and PJ here is one of them who I've met quite recently. And I've got some amazing people in my network who have some really insightful things to share with everybody. And I thought in this time of unprecedented change, it seems a bit of a buzzword now, but it is an unprecedented time. It is a challenging time. There's every single one of us in the whole entire world is potentially going through this for the very first time, or iterations of this for the very first time. And there's so much new, uncertain stuff coming our way. I wanted to create something that would allow everyone watching the opportunity to take at least one thing away, an idea, a way of thinking, a strategy, just something that can help them get through this time. So that's the intent of it. And each session we're speaking to somebody else who's an expert in their own field. And today we have the lovely PJ Ashley. Thank you so much for coming along and agreeing to speak to us today.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. I'm just gonna sort my word spaghetti out here. I'll be all good.
You're all good.
Now, PJ, you're the founder of the Pillar Practice. How about you start us off by sharing a bit about your background and what the Pillar Practice is and how it all came to be?
I started off in the corporate space, and former husband, Army. So before that, moving around and living all around Australia and over in the UK, and being all part of the defence community. And through that, I was headhunted into doing some work within defence community organisations, and so that sort of led me on this path that I never ever expected to be on. Ended up working for the Toll Group and looking after the government and defence portfolio for Toll, and that was $1 billion portfolio, and I was working in supply chain and logistics and supplying back into government and defence. And then following that, I worked for another organisation, a German military organisation called Rheinmetall, and whereas I was head of sales for Australia. And my head office is in Munich, warehouse was in Vienna. I was working to the New Zealand Defence Force. I was never at home. I was constantly travelling. I had an amazing job and career. It was fantastic. But I've always had a slant for healing and for that calmer space of life. And so as my corporate side got crazier and busier and busier, I'd wake up in hotels and I'd forget what city I was in. And then, I'd have to sort of dust my brain off and go, right, this is where I am and this is what I'm doing today. At the meantime, I had three children and my father going through dementia, and just general life as well. We were back in Canberra by that point. So I really saw firsthand stresses in the corporate world and what goes along with that: marriage breakdowns, drinking, addictions, working till 4 a.m. to get a job done, not necessarily being rewarded for it, doing it out of the drive, not necessarily. It wasn't for a pay motivation, it wasn't for a bonus motivation, it was to achieve. And met incredible people at an amazing almost decade doing this. But as I was promoted very quickly, and that the work that I was working on got bigger and bigger, then it was Groundhog Day. Whether I was working on $1 million project or if I was working on a couple of $100 million project, I went, this is all the same. And so there was a pivotal time when my stress was at its highest. My team, my colleagues' stress they were at their highest. Everyone just wanted more out of you for less, and we were needing to demand that for the team as a whole. And something needed to break. So I was in the other side of my life. I was like this bifold. You know, I loved energy, I loved healing, I loved meditation, and the stillness and the silence. But I would never really interact the two of them together. And this is what we
Okay.
found is that a lot of people go to work 9 to 5 and they do their analytical job, and and that's the left brain. But then they can come home and they love their yoga or their Pilates or their walking and their calm space or their intuitiveness or their higher gifts or whatever that creation might be. And then they do that on their weekends or their time off, and that's the other side, that's the right brain. But it is becoming more and more evident that these two parts of our lives are integrating. And so I had a dramatic moment where I realized that I couldn't stay in the corporate world. I needed to go back to that art of healing that I loved and start looking at how to assist the stresses in life, because stresses kill. I watched it kill people. I watched stress kill people with
Wow.
suicide. I watched it kill marriages. I watched it kill finances. I watched it kill careers, and I watched it kill businesses. So stress kills, and doctors will tell you one of the first signs of stress can be death. A symptom of stress is death. Literally, a heart explosion
Wow.
can be death. A stroke, stress can be death. And some people say, "I'll wait till I'll wait till something is really exploded in my life, and they'll do something about it." It's not the way to go, and the world is
But
changing.
that's too late. Yeah.
Mm.
It really is, isn't it? That's quite a stark sort of concept, isn't it? That a symptom or a sign of stress is death. So by that point,
Mm-hmm.
it's too late to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that really sort of shows that the time to do something about it is sort of right now, isn't it? Before maybe we even think we're stressed. You know, I've had a lot of people that say, "Oh, I don't get stressed, or I don't care about being stressed, or I can just push it aside." But do you think that we can do that, or do you think that's a way that people are just trying to mitigate how they're actually feeling, or almost deny how they're actually feeling?
There's there's the saying that a little bit of stress is good. And that is so right. If you're a performer, a singer, or an actor, you want that little bit of stress to get the adrenaline going, to get that little bit of nerves going to out there and perform. Same with sports people. You want that adrenaline. If you are calm, that's not going to give you that burst that you require. We're created with fight or flight. If there's a lion chasing you, you want to be stressed because you want that
Yes.
adrenaline lifted, so you zoom out of there and you have that safety. So a lot of people mistake that, we're saying, oh, all stress is bad. No, stress is great. Stress is fantastic. You say to a lazy teenager, "Oh, I'll give you a bit of stress, to get you motivated, to get you moving." Stress is good. But when it's consumed your life and when it's taken over your life, it will literally be showing you signs in your body. It'll be showing you signs in your mind. And for the business owners, it'll be showing signs in their business, because a stressed business is a very vulnerable business. A stressed body is a very vulnerable body. And with times like this, stress literally is a killer, because you don't want to be in that vulnerable position. You want to be at your highest resilience. You want to be at your peak performance, and using that little bit of stress to
Absolutely.
bring yourself up, your mind, your body, your business, your challenges into that highest peak performance.
It's really interesting what you say about, you talk about a stressed person and a stressed business. And, I talk a lot about, I help to grow businesses by growing the people within them. Is that sort of the same sort of concept that you're talking about there? It's about helping the person that is the business or runs the business to become less stressed, and that in turn takes the stress away from the business.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first things that people can do about stress in their body is looking at what are the symptoms. I'm not sleeping. I'm drinking more. I've got irritable bowel. My skin's erupting. You can actually see signs. Shingles coming up, UTIs. There's things that will come up. So in our work, what we do in the pillar practice, we understand. We get the messages, and you go backwards to see. You get the symptom, and you go backwards to see what the message is. You do the same in business. You know, if there's money leaking out of the business, if there's not enough clients coming in, whatever the business symptom is, we look at the business symptom and then you go back. Well, if that's a symptom, what's the message? And there's always an answer. And so when you do that, rather than if this is just hard, or this just doesn't work, or my IT is just not supportive, or something, by sitting it, it's an apathy, and it's like you've got a sore knee and you don't do anything about it. You don't look into it. You don't see the reason why. If you've got the symptom in business, if you don't do anything about it, it will just get worse. So you need to look at the symptom in business just like a body, and then get your message and clear it.
It's a really great, absolutely. Yeah. It's a really great way of looking at it, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people can understand, like using the analogy of a sore knee. If we've got a sore knee, there'll be a lot of us that just get around on a sore knee for a while. But there might come a point where it becomes really, really sore, and it sort of prompts us to do something about it. And it's sort of using that analogy and bringing it into our role or our business, that, the things that we're seeing are just symptoms, and they're signs. And like you say, that they're messages to perhaps a bigger issue that's going on. So I think that's a really fascinating way of thinking that people can take away. Look at what's going on in a business, look at what's going on in your team, think of it as a symptom in your body, and if you felt that sort of unease, or that sort of thing that's not quite how it's supposed to be in your body, what would you do about it? You potentially go and you'd seek help, and you'd look for remedy it. So that should translate through to a business or a team or a role as well.
Absolutely. We love it. Like in my company, we actually love it when a problem rises to the top, which sounds stupid. But what happens, because they'll be bubbling away, and you put up with stuff, and it's like a little splinter in the skin. All of a sudden you go, what's that annoying thing? And you can put up with it for a while, and all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, there's a splinter there, I need to get it out. So, things will sort of bubble, and we'll put up with it. But when it goes to exploding point, oh my God, this is it. Every week we have a team meeting, and every team meeting we actually go, what is our greatest issue? We go through all our wins, and we go through all of that, but what is our greatest issue? And then the requirement is that issue is sorted before the next week. And so we love it when things really explode to the top, because they then become our greatest strength. We get really amazing changes, great results, all sorts of things happening. But if they're still in that bubbling stage, they're just a bit annoying. It's not annoying enough to do something about it. So it's look at the symptom, see where the stress is, lift it to the top, and get a solution.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And one thing that I know that you talk about, and I'm certainly very much on the same way of thinking, is that stress, or busyness in particular, probably that's maybe a more relatable word. Busyness is sort of can be seen as a badge of honor. It's like, I'm busy, I'm doing stuff, therefore I'm succeeding, I'm doing really well. What do you feel are the dangers of that sort of mindset?
People mistake a business for having to be busy and busyness, and it's that busy. It's one of the things I fall into myself. And that's, one of the things from the corporate world, that, if you weren't working, 12, 14-hour days, like, what was wrong with you? What was going on? Rather than effectiveness.
You're not trying hard enough,
You're not trying harder, rather than efficiency, rather than effectiveness. Well, the situation we're in now is literally, changing people's minds and going, wow, I'm requiring to be more effective and efficient because I've got kids at home, I'm homeschooling, or I can't get to meet people. I've got to do, different things. And so that badge of honor is very much an old paradigm. We are shifting. Our world is shifting. We're literally coming into a new dimension. This year is a massive shift. And so we are leaving the archetypal masculine power shift. Power suit, power hungry, and I don't mean masculine as in males. This is not saying leaving the male energy behind. It is leaving the overpowering male energy, whether that be in males or females, it doesn't matter. But that is that busyness, that is that badge of honor, and we're moving into more of a balanced connection. So we're moving into more of that balance between the analytical and the intuitive. And so there's this wave coming, and it is happening. It is it literally this is happening now.
Okay.
So people with their stresses, they're all going to be bubbling to the top at the moment, going, why is this happening? You're forced to be in homes at the moment with people you're going to go, wow, I actually really do like you. Or, you know what, you're a pain in the neck. So things are really going to be surfacing, and people's symptoms in their businesses are going to be surfacing. If people haven't done what they needed to do to get themselves resilient physically and business-wise, then it's going to have been exposed through this time. So it literally is about, let's get rid of this. We have to be busy as a badge of honor. This is just, it's old. It's done. It is about being balanced. It really is a bit about being balanced.
Absolutely. I can totally relate personally as well. I'm very conscious of being busy for the sake of busy, but I think just my personality and the way that I am, I like to be involved in lots of things, and I can find myself all of a sudden with half a dozen projects going on, and still trying to manage the kids at home, still trying to find time for the shopping, and trying to find time to fit everything in, and it can, even though we're sort of at home and there's a lot of talk about us being calmer and having more time for hobbies and all this, I personally find myself saying, well, geez, I'm busier than ever. Is that something that you're seeing as well in your clients and the people that you're speaking to?
What I'm finding overwhelmingly with people, and I speak to a lot of people a day, we've got practitioners around the world delivering our program. And so I'm getting feedback from them as well. Overwhelmingly, people are loving what is happening. They are loving the opportunity to reassess their life. They are loving the opportunity to rearrange their house, to rearrange their diary, to see what is important to them, to cleanse, to release, to spring clean. I'm like you though. I've never been busier, and I have it's just that it's overwhelming with people really choosing to learn about our work, and I've been doing this for 8.5 years, and there's some people who've been listening to this for over 6 years who finally go, now I actually really get what you do. So for me, it's like, wow, I speak about, being calm and in control and confident, and I've got all the tools to be able to connect into that very quickly. But I have to watch it because this roller coaster of connection is coming, into my world. So I feel that I am really requiring to utilize my skills, running my business at the moment. But overwhelmingly, people are saying they are absolutely, and a lot of them feel guilty about it, loving the situation. A lot of people are saying,
Interesting.
I know that others can't get to their parents at the nursing homes, or I know that people can't see their children, but I secretly love it.
It's interesting, that guilt thing, isn't it? Like, I wonder what's behind that. It's really interesting. And I think, something that you said there, I think is a really timely reminder for everybody, everybody right now, the fact that we're human. We can know all the strategies, all the processes, we can know all the codes of human behavior, we can understand ourselves fully, personality preferences, but at the same time, we're human, and it's okay to have a moment, isn't it? It's okay to be like, shit, I'm all over the place, but
Absolutely.
it's having the, I guess the difference is having the awareness of, okay, I've reached my point. I've got to start to initiate some of these strategies that I know now, as opposed to just unconsciously just being busy and being caught up in that whirlwind.
Yeah. We say stress and busyness is like a ferret on a wheel that's going round and round and round and round and round. But then, when you miss the cogs, you skip and you miss the cogs, and it slides, and you're missing a cog, and so you're having to work harder and harder and harder. Whereas if you actually slow down, you get every cog, and then, you know, you can actually go at exactly the same output, but you're not going like a ferret on a wheel. So, you know,
Yeah.
stress doesn't mean more effective. It always generally means less effective, less productive, less clear. And because it's your calm state that has your most productive, and that literally that higher consciousness that can go, this is the solution, this is the way to do this, this is my answer for this. And in my corporate world, I use that higher consciousness, you know, that higher state all the time, in meeting people, in boardrooms, and any type of you know, connection or negotiation. And I always, whenever I could just, you know, calm that busyness around me down, and I could be the calmness when there's the stress around, then that was always when I'd go solution. Right, that's it. We do this, we speak to that, and that's done. And it's beautiful. The calmness is beautiful.
It's so it's so counterintuitive though, isn't it? Wouldn't you agree? Like, if we've got this sort of long, or a perceived long to-do list, we've got all these things that we've got to do. You know, we've got to respond to this email, we've got to do this, we've got to jump on this call, we've got to make sure the kids are doing this, we've got to submit this. You know, when we've got this big list of things to do, it can seem counterintuitive to slow down to get that done, can't it? Yeah. What advice could you give around that?
It can, absolutely. We always say to the clients, the very first thing that you do when you feel that you're losing time is you pause. When you're busy, you lose time. When you pause, you gain time. Right? When you're
That's an
busy, you
interesting
lose time.
concept.
When you pause, you gain time. So when you pause and you get to a point, and we can all get to the point, we're running. I say the analogy like you're in a car and you're going somewhere and you need to be somewhere by a certain time, but you've never been there before. Your GPS is taking you all around the place. You really don't know where you're going. You thought you knew. You're going, I think it's left, right, left, right, left, left, left. And you end up nowhere near, and you're getting more and more stressed as the time is tick, 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 tick. And time dissolves. Time is not your friend when you're stressed. You lose time when stressed. The best thing to do is pull over. You pull your car over and go, pause. Where am I? What does that street sign say? Where am I? It's reboot the GPS and turn it back on and get guidance. And you sit there and go, oh my goodness, it's around the corner. So pause will always gain you time. Stress will always rob you of time. So that when you get that, and you truly, truly get it, you pause whatever you're doing, and then you'll very, very calmly then be able to prioritize what is urgent, or what is a priority, or what is just nagging at me that is taking my time. What can I not do? What can I delegate? What is required now?
I think that's amazing advice, and it's consistent. It's something consistent that's come through all of these conversation sessions so far. The last one with Patrick Westwood, who's the district commissioner for the southern border region of the New South Wales RFS, and throughout all the bushfires, you know, he was saying he felt this tremendous responsibility to lead the team and lead all the volunteers and lead the mission, you know, lead the battle to fight these fires. And he really had to force himself to step away and hand over control to someone, go home, sleep, eat, rest, recharge, pause.
Yeah.
And when he came back, he was energized. He was in that calm headspace to actually do what he needed to do, even though every element of his gut was saying, you know, I've got to keep going, I've got to keep going, I've got to keep going. I guess the sensible side, or the hand on the shoulder was like, okay, time to go and have a rest, time to have a pause. And
Yes.
someone who watched that is in the military and in the special forces, and was sort of telling me high level about some of the intense training that they went through in terms of, you know, being handed missions and sort of going through these sort of 12 to 14 hour training regimes that spanned a couple of weeks. And he said what was drilled into them in their training was when they're handed a mission, even though every ounce of their being wanted to just get going straight away, they're told, go have a cup of tea. Go and sit with this, pause before you get going, because you are not going to be progressing with a clear head and in an effective way if you just go gung-ho right now. So it's really interesting that that message is consistent throughout with in so many different fields, even though it can seem so counterintuitive.
And as a leader, you're told good leaders make decisions quickly. And they do, but good leaders will pause to make a decision quickly. And they're more likely to make the right decision quickly. And all leaders will know that it's okay if you've made a decision that then you need to correct. But by pausing, you'll actually have a sense of knowing, a calmness. You feel like you're in control and you're confident about this decision you require to make. So pausing can be for 30 seconds. If you've got the tools and the skills to do that, you can get into an intense sense of calmness and control to come back out of with confidence for the decision you need to make. It doesn't need to be for, 8 hours. Let me think on that and make a decision. Big decisions, we would always say, sleep on it and come back. The first thing that comes to your mind in the morning is the right answer. Yeah. So it is about progressing as quickly as possible, but pausing in whatever space you can to get that calmness, because a pause allows for that calmness, and that it takes the stress away. A pause allows you to get back in control rather than panic. And when you're out of control, you're not making decisions with all the advice and all the guidance around you. And then you're not making decisions in confidence. And that's not a nice place to sit in life, just in life, let alone in business.
So let's say, we're in the position that we're in right now. Obviously, everybody's circumstances are very different, and everybody is sort of feeling those pinches a bit differently, whether it's personal things going on in our life, whether it's sort of trying to continue to do our role in very different circumstances, whether it's trying to run our business in very different circumstances. Where would you start if somebody came to you and was like, I'm done. I don't know where to start. What's the first thing that you sort of advise someone to do?
First thing we say, and it's becoming more and more important, if you understand that the world is changing you, if you understand how the world is changing, you'll realize what I'm about to say is going to become far more important. It always has been, but it's going to be crucial for moving forward. We have, as I was speaking about, the left brain and the right brain, and we have different skill sets that come from that. What happens generally in business, we shut down one side of that. And depending on what you do for business, if you are in your creative side, if you are in that coaching side, if you're in that healing side, you're more into your left side, which is your right brain. And so therefore you may not have a balance on the analytical and intuitive. So many people come and say, I'm fantastic at what I do, but I can't run my business. My books are all over the place. My accounting's not done. I don't know how to market it, but I'm fantastic at what I do. So then they need to balance. Other people then will go into analytical jobs, intellectual jobs, where they're actually going to work. I am going to work, and then all of the creative side is not there. So that's the right side of their body. It's the work. That's the work. So the right side affects the left side of the body. The left brain affects the right side of the body. It's that cross-cord coordination. So when it's it's just all right side body, that's just all I'm going to work. What we say to everybody who's going, I'm just confused. It is the neural pathways going, you are not listening to both sides of your brain, you don't know what it's doing, and you're being asked to lift one side or the other. So stop being all creative if you're in business and start lifting the analytical or the intuitive. Start learning something. You may not want to do your books, but you need to know how to do your books before you pass them on. If you are all work, 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 and this is a lot that's coming up with people, they're going, I've got a job and I'm getting paid, but I'm passionate about doing this other side of my life. What do I do? When you can really understand where your skill sets sit in the analytical, intellectual component of life, and that's generally your training, what you've been trained in, that skill set. When you can match that to where your passions are, the creative side, that intuitive side, the feminine side. So the work, analytical, intellectual is the masculine side of us, and the creative side, intuitive side is the feminine side of us. What's happening? People by the thousands are coming up going, I want to do too. How do I do it? And the successful businesses in this era, in this dimension, this change, the successful businesses are the ones that have blended the two, have intuitively understood they need to do the two, or are now blending the two, where they lift their intellectual and their analytical part of themselves and their business, but they're allowed their intuitive, that fun, that creative side to literally match. And when you've got that together in a business, that's sweet spot. That there is no longer a day where you go to work. You will never go to work ever again in your life because it's passion, because it's exciting, because you've got the structure of the analytical, you've got the passion of the intuitive, and you bridge them together, and that's your journey. And that's why people are meant to be here, to literally bridge those two.
That's fascinating. So stripping that back, is that as sort of as simple, what's the first step to achieving that? Is that as simple as, if we're all creative and all in that sort of intuitive state, is that as simple as, say, taking a course, or like you say, like reading a book, learning a new skill? And then on the flip side, if we're all analytical, it might be it might be sort of, I don't know, injecting a bit of fun, sort of bringing some kind of activity into the day. Is it as simple as that, or am I simplifying it too much?
No. It can be as simple as that. Once you understand it and you're aware of it, it can be a bit of an aha moment for people. So as an example, you might be really good with numbers. You could be an accountant. Okay, we've spoken about finance as an accountant. You could be an accountant or a bookkeeper, and you're really, really good with numbers. And that's what you're trained at. You're really good at it. But your passion actually is, coaching, or, it can be coaching or healing, and that's your passion. So then have clients who are into coaching and healing. Blend the two, so you're interested in what their work is. Whereas if you're an accountant or a bookkeeper and you're working with a butcher, that may not be your passion. It may not fill your boots. That may not be your exciting. That may not excite you. So you can still have your skill sets and blend it into the things you're really passionate about. Have clients that really, really interest you. We with our company, pillar practitioners learn our program, and they come from all different walks of life, and they're told, you've got the structure, you've got the framework, you've got everything, all the tools to deliver that. That's almost like the analytical side. And the intuitive side, the fun side, is who would you like to work with? If you had one problem in the world and you were the master of the solution of that one problem of the world, what is it? And then you overlay it on that. You'll never go to work again in your life. You're constantly just can't wait to get out the door or start your day. So if you're all intuitive, I deal with yoga teachers and Pilates people or healers, and I go, learn about your zero accounting. Do it. You don't have to be the expert, but you need to know it. Learn about marketing. Learn about how you can go online with things and lift that analytical, because then they don't feel as vulnerable, and they can that will actually expand their capability to actually get their work out there.
It's fascinating. And just while you were talking then, something else popped in my head for, there's another guy in my network, and he talks about purpose and how you find your purpose. And he said, and I think it'll be interesting to get your take on it, but it sounds very much like you're talking the same sort of language. He talks about the problem. He's like, take the problem that you solve. He said, take something that you're passionate about, and where those two merge,
Yep.
that bit in the middle where they overlap, that's your purpose. And when you find that sweet spot, that's that's it. That's the sweet point. Yeah.
That's magic.
Yeah.
That is magic.
Yeah. So what would your advice be to someone?
Sorry, as long as you've got the analytical and the intellectual with it, and you're intuitive with it, then I agree with all of that. It's absolutely that total sweet spot. It's beautiful. And when you find it, it's like, wow, everything has led me to this point. All of these stepping stones has led me to this point. And that's where you can grow and take off. And it really is. That's when you feel like your heart just opens, and it's, everything has meaning from that point forward.
Yeah. And personally, that's the journey I'm taking right now. The person you were talking about before, that the accountant, they're very analytical. That's me. My background is accounting. I've had 15 years in public practice, tax compliance, self-managed superannuation, very analytical. Good at it, always good at it. I'm still having accounting jobs offered to me even now. But my passion is people. My passion is helping people become the best that they can be. So I wouldn't say I'm quite there, but I'm getting to that merging point in the middle of taking those two sides and bringing them together. But I certainly have that feeling that you just spoke about, that this is what everything is building for, has been building for. That's certainly brewing. I can feel it, and it's really exciting.
Well, you would have seen in your corporate world, you would have seen the vulnerability of people who don't get the finances or who struggle with the finances. You would have seen their vulnerability, and you would have seen so many people with incredible skill sets going, oh my gosh, I wish they had have just got their business structured properly and just set this up or listen to advice, because what they have to deliver is amazing. The world's ready for it. So you would have seen that side of it, which was why you're going to be so great with the people side of it, because you've had the analytical and you know that you've got everything you need there. And so now it's lifting and matching the two. So when you zone in on that, it's just brilliance.
Yeah, it's awesome. So what would your advice be? This is very much, I think any business owner or anyone watching this is going to be like, oh my God, like, right now I get what I've got to do. In terms of someone who's working in a role within a business, working within an organization, perhaps leading a team or perhaps on a team, how does someone in that space reach that sweet spot when potentially they might not be in control of everything going on all around them? What's your advice in that regard?
A good leader, a good manager is going to want to get the most out of their team. And when you put the classic expression, a square peg into a round hole, you're not going to get the best out of that person. They're not going to enjoy their work. They're going to feel like they're a failure. They're going to try and keep up, but their skills haven't been utilized. So if you are in that situation, the best thing you can do is to be honest to yourself, really honest to yourself, because you will have incredible skill sets that company may or may not respect. If they do respect those skill sets, that's why they got you there in the first place. Get back to where your passion is. If you are in a job you are not passionate about, your boss or the team leader, they're going to know about it. People have more sick leave. People have more absenteeism for various reasons. People who are passionate about their job show up, and managers know it. So by truthful to yourself, number one, and then you can start to have that discussion with, I'm not fulfilled here. I love the organization. I'm not fulfilled here. What else can I do? Managers love hearing that. Good managers, good CEOs, good leaders love hearing that. So it starts with the truth. Know the truth. Maintain your peace with that, and then really lift it into what's going to keep you enjoying. Because if you've got someone who's a switched on leader, they will grab that opportunity and go, wow, we could put you over here and keep you. So it's really about being honest. If you sit there and go, no one's going to listen, no one's going to put me into the right organization, no one's going to give me that training, no one's going to do that, you might be in the wrong organization. Is it worth you hanging in there? But be truthful and just and put it out there, and you'll know very quickly from the first conversation whether or not you've got a good manager, willing to lift you and motivate you into somewhere where you're choosing to be, or if you've got a manager going, do as I say, not as I do, then you'll get your own answers.
And then ultimately we as individuals have the choice, don't we, as to what we do with that. We either make peace with that and find what we're looking for outside of our role, and we have a peace with the role that it's a means to an end, or we choose to make a change and do something different.
Absolutely. And don't ever think you don't have a choice. We always say to our clients, you make the choice, you choose the what, you allow the how to happen. The how will come in and give you, it'll be delivered to you, action as soon as you have the how, and then you'll understand that you're being supported in the what. If you're not choosing, if you're not making choices, solutions won't come to you.
It's a fascinating conversation. So let's recap on where we've been. We're in very, very challenging times right now. So there's a lot of us that are going to be feeling a lot more stress than we perhaps otherwise would. Our first port of call is, despite how much we might feel we've got to do, our first port of call is pause. That's where we're pausing, and that might not be for I'm going to pause for a week and go on holiday. That might not even be I'm going to have a day off and pause. That might just be, okay, I'm going to walk away from my computer and I'm going to have a cup of tea out in the sunshine. It's pause. So that where do we go next? Where in your process, where do we go next from there?
The gifting of isolation is giving us a global pause. The world is on pause. Okay, the earth is on pause. The earth is finally able to breathe again. Our waterways, the pollution, everything is starting to clear again. Mother Earth, she's on pause. That everyone is on pause, enforced or voluntary, but we're on pause. So this is the time, and if people aren't utilizing it, you're missing the point. So this is about take that pause, and in a pause, when you can get your calmness back, you can feel like you're more in control. You'll get the confidence to really be able to understand where you're really choosing to be. It will show you what no longer serves you any longer for you to discard. You may have had an amazing training program or skill set or friendship or relationship or a house you live in. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a set of colouring of cushions. They just don't serve you anymore. They're just not there for you anymore. You just don't. It's part of your past. This opportunity and pause is showing you what is a part of your past, because when you acknowledge that, there's already an opportunity waiting now. What we say is pause will get you to your now. It is very important. Don't live in the past, because when you're in the negative energy of your past, that is sadness, loss, grief, and that can lead you into a depressed state about what's happening. It's very important to be in the now and not your future in the negative, because that is an anxious moment. That is anxiety waiting for something that negative to happen that hasn't even happened yet. So be in the now. Be in the now. Pause will allow you to be in the now. And when you are in the now, this is an acronym. Now is next, opportunity, waiting. So if you pause and you are in the now, you are already at the bus stop. The bus is there with your opportunity. And what it means by next, it means you've already had amazing opportunities. Be grateful for them. Opportunity means it's not enforced. It is an opportunity. You can say yes to it. You can say no to it. You can let that bus go and wait for another bus to come along. Waiting means it's already there for you. It is a part of what you are. It is there. It's already created. So when you pause, you can be in your now. There is the next opportunity waiting. You will then have the knowledge to be able to very calmly, in your control and confidence, to release is what is not serving you anymore, and say yes to what is already there waiting for you. And that's an incredible, empowering moment to be in. And when you get used to doing this, you can do this in 5 minutes. You know, sometimes people are going to take the whole 2 months of isolation to do it, but it is there, and it's an incredible gift for everybody what we're doing in this isolation and this global pausing, because we can come out of this far better than what we went into it in.
I think there are fantastic, there's amazing opportunities in this time right now. I can see that, so, and I can feel that, you know, even talking about it, I sort of feel the energy sort of welling up through me. But what advice would you give to someone who can hear conceptually what you're saying, but there's elements of the past, or there's elements of you know, things that they know deep down aren't serving anymore, but it's comfort, it's stability, because it's what they know. Like, what advice would you give to people like that to help let go and come into the now?
It's like when you have a broken leg. You require plaster on that broken leg, and you're told you require that plaster for 6 weeks, and that's supporting and it's nurturing, it's comforting, and you've got the crutches. But then, you know, 6 weeks comes, and the doctor say, well, you don't need the plaster anymore, you don't need the crutches, you just need to be careful, because you're going into a new phase of this, and you're going to that healing phase, and so you can move past it. If you say, no, it's comfortable, I don't want to take that off yet, I'm worried, and you keep it on, 6 months time, it's going to be rotten. Okay, it's going to cause you far more damage. So it started off being very required, nurturing, but if you keep something in your life that is not required now, it will get to a point where something will lift and it will get worse, and then something will lift again and will get worse, and you will get to a point, and this can happen in relationships, where it's disastrous when you see relationships, people who were friends, loved each other, but then because they weren't listening, they didn't cut it when it was done and done and done. They kept it going and going and going till they hate each other. You know, and then it finally erupts when they hate each other. Well, that's just tragic. So, you know, have a look at it. It's about the truth, and have a look at what is there. You know, you require the comfort. We require financial comfort. We require friendship, love, comfort. You know, it's not about tossing friends away who just maybe don't get you anymore, but maybe not spending as much time with them. So, you know, if family, if siblings don't get where your head is at and where you've grown to, it's not about saying I disown you, but maybe, you know, don't spend as much time there and get back into your tribe. What's happening? People are starting to lift up into their new tribe, and it feels good. It's nice. It's people you can have intellectual conversations with, you know, universal conversations with. You can be your true, authentic self with. You'll know that, and you'll know that tribe, because it's like you're hungry for it. And that will make it easier to go, okay, the things in the past I respect, I have so much grateful for, but it's just not my space as much there anymore. And it's easier to move past it.
I really like that, because I think as human beings, like, we know, like, we've got a core need for comfort, for certainty, for some element of control. And so I guess the distinction is, you know, maybe holding on to something that used to serve us and used to give us that comfort, that security, that feeling of control. You know, we might think that if we let that go, that we're not going to be in control anymore, that we're going to sort of be floating in this ether of, like, the unknown. So I guess what you're saying is the process of making it easier to let go is by already starting to form that next support network around you. It's having the people around you that are gonna lift you up and are gonna give you that comfort, that control, that stability to step into
Absolutely.
whatever the new is.
Absolutely. You know, if someone's giving you a helping hand, you know, like if you're helping across, if you're having to jump across a log, or, you know, jump from one boat to another, someone's helping you forward. It's so much
Yeah.
easier to leave that behind when you've got someone helping, guiding you to do it. So, you
Yeah.
know, it's pretty scary if you just cut everything and don't know what's coming. It will come. But when you know something's already there and you've seen it and it's been placed in front of you and placed in front of you and placed in front of you and placed in front of you, then you go, right, I think this is where I'm stepping forward to. And then you forget that, you know, I had all those things to, you know, and those things in the past are fear. It's anger. It's, you know, being vulnerable. They're the things to leave behind, and, you know, and get
Yeah.
people who can help you literally shake hands and pull you forward into that higher confidence of yourself. It's an exciting
Yeah. I
time.
think that's
It's an amazing time for everybody.
it really is. And I think you mentioned it before, when you spoke about the now, and stepping out, away, forward from things that no longer serve. The flip side is not kind of looking too far forward, isn't it? And then starting to get anxiety as to what might be, because that's just as damaging as sort of holding on to something from the past. So it's what I'm taking from the conversation is now is the time to really just take stock. Now is the time to reflect. Now is the time to be grateful for everything that has happened, that has brought us to the point that we're at. And then when we're in that state of calm, when we're in that state of pause, we can acknowledge what's already there, presenting as the next opportunity to move forward with. And if we're finding it hard to make that step, our job, our action step right now is to be building that new support network around us, those new business networks, or those new social networks, or whatever it is that we need to literally, like you say, give us that helping hand to step us from one side to the other, without then looking so far forward that we're then starting to fear and become anxious of the unknown again.
If you're in your stress, because we're time travelers, we can jump to our past and we can jump to the future. So if you're stressed, you're going to jump to the past with the negative. If you're stressed, you're going to jump to the future with the negative, predicting the negative. That's why calm. That's
Yeah.
the first step. Pause. If you're calm, you're calm. You're in your peace. You can look back at your past with absolute gratitude and go, wow, all those lessons.
Yeah.
That's how I got there. That was put in front of my nose here. This is just amazing. Come back to your now, being in your calm. Then you can go to your future going, I'm actually excited. I don't know what's out there, but I'm calm about it. So it's a positive projection of your future. So stress will give you a negative projection of your past and future. Calmness will give you a positive projection of your past and your future. So you can still manifest and choose and goal set, but you'll be doing it with excitement because you're already calm. You've got your control. You've got control factors around it, and you're confident you're making the right decision.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic advice, and I trust that everyone who's on the call has been able to take something away. You know, what would you say to wrap everything up? I think we've wrapped everything up quite nicely. But if there was a closing message, if there's one thing that you wanted people watching this to take away, what would that be?
I say this all the time. If not now, when? If not now, when? Why not now?
Yep.
When? You know, we were in your now zone. Now, next opportunity waiting. I see so many people just slide and go, I'll just wait for my finances to get sorted. But this opportunity will sort your finances. Oh, I'll just wait for next friendship group to come along. But this friendship group is supporting you. Oh, I'll just wait for my child to finish primary school. But then they're going to go to high school. When? Yeah. So we do that out of fear. We do it out of lack of confidence. So that's what I'll say. But this in 2020, more than ever, I've been saying this for a few years now. 2020 is the year of vision, obviously. 2020 vision. It is the year we wake up.
Yep.
It's been said that this is going to be the year that we wake up for a very long time. And so it is waking up. We're not going to have the fear and the stresses and the bias from the decades of the past. It is a new life. It is a new era. It is community building. Get back to local community. Support your local community. Be in your now. Be excited about what's happening. But if not now, when? Why?
That is a fantastic point to end on. PJ, thank you so much. This has been such an amazing hour. I've learned so much.
Claire.
It's absolutely whizzed by, hasn't it? Is there anything anybody would like to ask him? You can just post anything in the chat, or any messages for PJ. We'll sit on for a couple more minutes. But thank you so much. I think this has been a fantastic session, and I think everybody watching there's definitely going to be something that everyone can take out of this. And I love that, if not now, when? I think that's such a poignant question. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of very similar. Mm-hmm. I say, turn one day into day one. Stop with the one day.
Exactly.
One day I'll do this. One day I'll do that. Just turn it into day one. What's one thing you can do today, right now, to start that next process?
Yeah.
You don't have to know the whole process. Let's just start. Today's day one. Let's just do it. So
we're not meant to know the whole journey. We're not meant to. No. We're just meant to know the next step. That's it. And that's the exciting part. Keep it fun. Keep it a mystery.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much. I'll let everybody get back to their morning. I really appreciate it, PJ. Thank you. We've got some comments coming in. Another wonderful and insightful session. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Sigrid. That's awesome.
Thank you, Sigrid.
Good to hear. It's been valuable. And how can people get in touch with you, PJ, if they want to find out more about your methods and your work and what you do?
Probably website best at thepillarpractice.com.au. Or they can get my details through you, or on Facebook and website and email and all sorts of, go into the website and you can contact us for that. It's The Pillar Practice. It's about being the pillar of strength in your life.
And that's awesome. And your the practitioners who are accredited in your pillar code, they're across all aspects. So it's not just about leadership. It's not just about business.
No.
It's about life in general, isn't it?
Yep.
So
life, mind, body. Yep. It's a holistic approach. Yep. You can't separate and just fix your mental health. You can't just fix your body health. It's holistic, and this is the way of the world now. It's moving forward.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's jumped on live. Have a fantastic rest of the day and rest of the week, and an amazing weekend. Take care all, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Claire. It's been great joining you.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.